Hi, this is Mike Distefano with Korn Ferry's Briefings for the Boardroom. Today, talking with Lieutenant General Retired Rhett Hernandez on the topic of cybersecurity and cyber preparedness. If we transition now over to your work with boards and how boards in general should be thinking about the topic, are there some best practices or some insights you could share that you would share with any board in terms of what their responsibility and how they should thinking about cyber preparedness?
So I think that this doesn't just apply to boards and directors. I think it applies to managers and directors. And because in my view, they all need to be engaged. The first thing that I see is not enough of a focus on what we just talked about. Not enough of a focus on the threat. And I believe we need to move beyond awareness to appreciation, to really understanding who's after you, what's motivating them, and in many ways have a respect for the threat. We have a respect for our competition. We ought to do the same for the threat that's out to disrupt our businesses. Second, I think it's important for everyone in the organization, directors and management, to really know what their crown jewels are and what are they doing to protect it. And I think you have to demand it because you can't protect everything. And until you focus on what it is that other people are really after, and you know what it is that's most important to you, you're missing the boat. And that you're just doing things that, well, they seem important and more urgent, and they're not really getting after protecting the crown jewels. The third and probably most significant one, because today we in many cases have a culture of compliance when I think we need to form more of a culture of risk management. Companies really need to adopt an enterprise framework, risk management framework, that allows them to know the threats, vulnerabilities, and consequences, that recognizes compliance is not equal to security and audits don't mean that you're ready, but really focuses on risk and all the elements associated, physical and cyber, and what actions need to be taken to mitigate it, what resources need to be put to it, and how you prioritize programs over time. The same way the board is working with the management, but now in a enterprise risk framework approach.
It strikes me that with any company, it's happening on a daily basis, and a significant breach, it's probably a matter of when, not if. You have a point of view on once an incident occurs, what a board should expect out of management and be working with the organization to deal with an incident?
Yeah, so I think the most significant piece is that they need to do what you just said. Not if, but when, and as a result of that, our operations experience tells us that you need to plan, prepare, rehearse, and execute. So most significant to this is to be ready by having a breach plan that everybody understands, that it's in place, that you rehearsed it, you adjust it as you need to, and you keep it current. The last thing you want to do in the middle of one of these is try to figure out who to call and now recognize that you really are talking to them for the first time. So critical to this would be that a part of every board's agenda should have something to do with cybersecurity, and a key part of that agenda should be where are we with regard to our breach plan, and when have we last rehearsed it, and what gaps might we have that we need to get after.
Great. Do you think that a board needs a cyber security, I don't want to say expert because I don't even know what that would mean, but do you think they need to have someone that has cybersecurity expertise, or do you think that just having a plan and a good chain of communication and reasonable defense systems that have been audited, that's probably as good as it gets?
there's a lot of discussion on this. My view is that you're a product of your experiences and where you've been and what you've done. Clearly, directors have a responsibility for oversight, but I believe on the board there are a couple of things that are key to success, and having the right people is essential to it. I absolutely believe that director diversity, which includes the necessary cyber piece, is a part of this. I believe operational experience counts. So while you're oversighting, is your key role as a director, you also want to know that you've been there and done some of that, to appreciate that you're not going to try and do it again, but the right types of questions to ask, the right types of things to look at, and the right lens from a cyber perspective. I also think that a key piece for this, for the directors, is not just diversity, but also ensuring that everybody's speaking in language everybody else can understand. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been to as Army Cyber Command and walk out and the guy next to me says that was a great meeting, and I said, are you sure we were at the same meeting? And let me give you a couple other thoughts, now that you kind of opened it up here, and I know it's just about time to go.
Yeah, please.
I think all organizations, probably the key pieces that I saw and continue to see is that people remain the weakest link, and we need to recognize the significance of training. Second, although tell everyone, the Army is known for standards and discipline, yet in this space we've demonstrated more indiscipline than I've ever seen. And I don't know if it's the anonymity or not appreciating that a risk to one could be a risk to all, but basic enforcement of standards and discipline would go a long way protecting organizations, and then management and directors leading from the top help add to that culture.
General Hernandez, I want to just take a second to thank you. I know you're a busy guy on this topic and helping boards and chief executives think through cyber issues, but from all of us here at the Korn Ferry Institute, thanks for spending a few minutes with us today.
Okay, great, Mike. Thanks.